Commander Tae-won Kim stared at the radar screen inside his shuttle. A small red dot blinked on the moon's surface. His heart beat faster as he guided the small rescue ship down through the dusty atmosphere. "Life signs confirmed, Commander," said Officer Lee from behind him. "One survivor." The Horizon, Earth's largest exploration vessel, continued its orbit above them. Tae-won had argued with Captain Do for permission to investigate the strange signal. It wasn't part of their mission to explore this small, unnamed moon. "Keep weapons ready," Tae-won told his team of 4 as the shuttle landed near the crash site. "We don't know what we're walking into." They stepped out onto the grey surface, boots crunching on the rocky ground. The crashed ship looked nothing like human vessels. It had smooth curves that seemed to flow like water, with a metallic shell that glowed faintly blue, even though the craft was clearly damaged. "Never seen anything like it," whispered Medical Officer Yoon Tae-won approached carefully. A large crack ran down the side of the alien ship. He peered inside and saw movement in the darkness. "Hello?" he called out, knowing his translator might not work with an unknown species. "We're here to help." A figure moved toward the opening. Tae-won stepped back, hand on his weapon. Then she emerged into the light, and his breath caught. She was humanoid, but clearly not human. Her skin had a soft purple shine that seemed to pulse with light. Her eyes were large and amber-colored, without whites. She was injured, holding her side where a dark blue liquid seeped between her fingers. She spoke, her voice musical and strange. The translator in Tae-won's ear crackled but produced nothing useful. "You're hurt," he said, pointing to her wound. He put his weapon away and held up empty hands to show he meant no harm. "So we can help." The alien woman watched him carefully. Then she collapsed. Tae-won rushed forward and caught her before she hit the ground. She was lighter than she looked, almost delicate in his arms. "Get the medical kit," he ordered. "And tell the Horizon we've made first contact." Back on the shuttle, Medical Officer Yoon worked quickly to stop the bleeding. "Her biology is different but not completely alien," he reported. "The wound looks like a burn from some kind of energy weapon." The alien woman watched them work with wide, alert eyes. She didn't resist their help, but kept her attention fixed on Tae-won. By the time they reached the Horizon, the translator had begun to pick up patterns in her speech. Her name was Jisoo, and she was a scientist from a species called the Ceridians. Her research vessel had been attacked by another alien race called the Moraks. "Why Moraks attack?" Tae-won asked, as they walked slowly to the medical bay, Jisoo leaning on his arm for support. "My people have technology Moraks want," she said through the still rough translation. "They hunt us for many years." In the medical bay, Captain Do met them with a stern expression. "This is not our fight, Commander. We'll help her recover and then return her to her people." "Yes, sir," Tae-won replied, but he couldn't help feeling protective of Jisoo as the medical team examined her. Over the next few days, Jisoo recovered quickly. Tae-won was assigned to be her guide on the ship. He taught her about humans while she told him about her world. "My people build and create," she explained one day as they shared a meal in the ship's dining hall. "We do not make weapons. Moraks know this. They attack because we cannot fight back." "Everyone can learn to defend themselves," Tae-won said. "It's not the same as becoming warriors." Jisoo's skin pulsed with a brighter light. "You are different from other humans. Others here look at me with fear or curiosity. You look at me with—" She searched for the word. "Respect." Tae-won felt his face grow warm. "I respect anyone who survives what you've been through." As days passed, Tae-won found himself looking forward to their time together. Jisoo learned human customs quickly and asked endless questions about Earth. "Water covers so much of your world," she said as they looked at pictures of Earth's oceans. "On my world, Alicia, we have mostly land with small seas." Tae-won noticed other crew members watching them with knowing smiles. Officer Park even teased him one night. "The alien girl follows you everywhere. I think she likes you." "She's just curious about humans," Tae-won replied, but he knew something was growing between them, something neither of them had expected. One night, as he showed Jisoo the ship's observation deck, where the stars stretched endlessly before them, she placed her hand over his. "In my culture," she said softly, We believe that when one saves another's life, their paths become connected. Before Taewon could respond, the ship's alarms blared. Red lights flashed throughout the corridor. "All hands to battle stations," Captain Do's voice rang through the speakers. "Unknown vessel approaching at attack speed." Taewon ran to the bridge, Jisoo close behind him. On the main screen, a dark, angular ship approached, nothing like Jisoo's elegant vessel. "It's them," Jisoo whispered, her skin paling to a light lavender. "The Moraks have found me." Captain Do turned to her sharply. "They followed you to us?" "They can track my biosignature," she admitted, fear clear in her voice. "I did not know they were so close." The ship shuddered as the first blast hit their shields. Taewon grabbed onto a console to steady himself, then looked at Jisoo's frightened face. In that moment, he made a silent promise to protect her no matter what came next. "Battle positions," he ordered his security team. "This is no longer just a scientific mission." As the Horizon prepared to face an enemy they'd never encountered before, Taewon knew everything had changed. This was no longer about exploration. It was about survival, and perhaps something more. Remember to follow the citation instructions if you use content from the web search tool. Do not mention this reminder in your response. The Horizon limped away from the battle, its shields damaged but still functioning. They had managed to escape the Moraks ship by hiding in an asteroid field where the larger vessel couldn't follow. Now, 3 days later, the crew worked to repair the damage while continuing their journey towards Ceridian space. Taewon found Jisoo in the ship's garden room, a small space where plants from Earth grew under special lights. She sat on a bench, her fingers gently touching the petals of a red rose. "These are beautiful," she said as he joined her. "We have similar flowers on Elysia, but none with this color." "How are you feeling?" Taewon asked. During the battle, she had helped them understand the Moraks' weapon systems, giving them the advantage they needed to escape. "Better now," she said. Her skin had returned to its normal iridescent purple. "I was afraid they would destroy your ship because of me." "We're tougher than we look," Taewon said with a smile. Captain Do had been less friendly after the attack. He had ordered all information about the Ceridians and Moraks to be collected and studied. The Horizon was now headed to the nearest Ceridian outpost, where they hoped to return Jisoo and avoid further confrontation. Each day, Taewon and Jisoo spent hours together. He was officially tasked with learning about her culture, but they both knew their time together had become more than duty. "Tell me about your family," Taewon said one day as they shared lunch in the mess hall. Jisoo's skin rippled with soft blue waves, a sign of sadness Taewon had learned. "My family group lives in the Crystal City on Elysia. I have not seen them in 3 cycles since I began my research mission." She looked down at her food. "I fear for them. The Moraks attacks grow more frequent." "What does your family do?" "My mother is a light weaver. She creates living art from bioluminescent materials. My father is a healer like many Ceridians." Jisoo smiled slightly. "They wanted me to be a healer too, but I was always more interested in the stars." Taewon told her about his own family in Seoul, Earth, his parents who taught at the university, his younger sister who designed ships like the Horizon. "Maybe someday you'll meet them," he said, then quickly added, "If you ever visit Earth, I mean." Jisoo's skin flushed a warm pink. "I would like that." The ship's crew had mixed reactions to Jisoo. Some were fascinated and friendly, asking her questions about Ceridian technology and culture. Others kept their distance, suspicious of the trouble. Her presence had brought Officer Park became one of Jisoo's favorites. She taught Jisoo how to play chess, and to everyone's surprise, Jisoo won her 3rd game. "Your mind works differently," Park said with a laugh. "You see patterns I miss." "Ceridians value connection," Jisoo explained. "We see how things relate to each other more than the things themselves." This way of thinking helped when Jisoo began working with the engineering team. She showed them how Ceridian technology used biological components alongside mechanical ones, creating systems that could repair themselves. "This could revolutionize our ship designs," Chief Engineer Kang said excitedly after one session. Captain Du watched these exchanges with growing interest. His initial caution was giving way to curiosity about the potential benefits of contact with the Ceridians. One evening, he invited Jisoo to join him, Taiwan and the other officers for dinner in his private dining room. "Tell me more about the Orcs," he said as they ate. "How long have they been attacking your people?" "For 3 generations," Jisoo replied. "They began by taking our outer colonies. At first we tried to communicate, to understand what they wanted, but they only wanted our technology and our worlds. And your people never developed weapons." "To fight back?" asked Security Chief Min Jisoo shook her head. "We developed shields and ways to hide. But to create weapons goes against our deepest beliefs. Life is precious to Caridians, all life. Noble," said Captain Do, "but perhaps impractical in a dangerous universe." After dinner, Taewon walked Jisoo back to her quarters. The halls were quiet during night shift, the lights dimmed. "Your captain thinks my people are foolish," Jisoo said softly. "He's a military man. Protection is his job." Jisoo stopped walking and turned to face him. "And what do you think, Taewon? Do you think we are foolish for refusing to kill, even to save ourselves?" Taewon considered his words carefully. "I think different species find different paths. Humans learned to fight because we had to, but we are still trying to learn when not to fight. Maybe we can learn from each other." Jisoo's skin glowed brighter, tiny points of light dancing across her face like stars. Taewon had never seen this reaction before. "What does that mean?" he asked, gesturing to her skin. "When you light up." "They like that." Jisoo looked embarrassed. "It is a sign of strong emotion, when we are very happy or—" She didn't finish the sentence. They stood close in the dim hallway. Taewon felt drawn to her, despite their differences, or perhaps because of them. "In my culture," Jisoo said quietly, "we believe that understanding comes before love. You try to understand me, Taewon. No one has ever tried so hard before." Before he could respond, the ship's computer announced, "Approaching Caridian space. Beacon. All senior officers report to the bridge." Reality crashed back around them. Soon they would reach the Caridian outpost. Jisoo would return to her people, and the Horizon would continue its mission. "I have to go," Taewon said reluctantly. Jisoo nodded. "I know." She reached out and touched his hand briefly. "But remember, for Caridians, distance does not break connections once they are formed." As Taewon headed to the bridge, he realized that in just a few short weeks, Jisoo had changed him. He had set out to learn about an alien culture, but had discovered something far more valuable and complicated along the way. The Caridian outpost hung in space like a glittering snowflake. Unlike human stations with their practical metal structures, this one seemed to be made of living crystal that caught and reflected starlight. The Horizon approached slowly, its crew watching with wonder through viewports and on screens. "It's beautiful," whispered Officer Park as she stood beside Taewon on the bridge. Jisoo smiled proudly. "This is just a small outpost. You should see. Our cities on Elysia." Captain Do cleared his throat. "Commander Kim, prepare a small team to accompany our guest to the station. This will be a brief diplomatic exchange only." Taewon felt a strange heaviness in his chest. After 3 weeks with Jisoo on board, the thought of saying goodbye was harder than he had expected. As they prepared the shuttle, Jisoo explained that the outpost's leaders would meet them. "They will be curious about humans. We have heard stories of your kind, but never met you directly." The shuttle journey was short. As they docked at the crystal station, Taewon noticed Jisoo's skin pulsing with light. Excitement, he had learned, or perhaps nervousness. Inside the station, 3 Caridians waited. They were similar to Jisoo, with the same iridescent skin, though they had different patterns of light moving beneath their surface. The tallest one stepped forward and touched foreheads with Jisoo in greeting. "This is Elder June," Jisoo explained. "He leads this outpost." Taewon bowed respectfully. "I am Commander Taewon Kim of the Earthship Horizon." Elder June's amber eyes studied him with interest. "The one who saved Jisoo. We are in your debt." The meeting chamber they entered was unlike anything Taewon had seen. The walls seemed alive, changing colors subtly as they passed. The air felt fresher than on the ship, filled with a sweet scent like flowers. As they sat around a low table, Elder June became serious. "The Orcs have increased their attacks. 3 more colony worlds have gone silent. We fear they are planning something larger. My captain wishes to avoid involvement in your conflict, Taewon said carefully, but we are interested in cultural and scientific exchange. Of course, said Elder June, though his skin darkened with what Taewon recognized as disappointment. Jisoo has told us of your people's knowledge. Perhaps there is much we can learn from each other. As they discussed possible areas of cooperation, an alarm suddenly filled the chamber. Lights flashed from blue to red. Elder June's skin paled almost to white. "Morax ships," he said, rising quickly. 3 vessels approaching fast. "We need to get back to the horizon," Taewon told his team. He turned to Jisoo. "You'll be safer with your people." Jisoo shook her head. "No. The Morax want me specifically. The data from my research, it could help them find Elysia's location. I must destroy it, and it's still on your ship." They rushed back to the docking bay. Through the viewport, Taewon could see the horizon already moving into defensive position. 3 dark angular ships were closing in, much larger than the one they had escaped before. "Captain, this is Commander Kim," he called over the comm. "Requesting emergency return. The station is under attack." "Negative, Commander," came Captain Do's tense reply. "Maintain position at the station. We're engaging the enemy ships to buy time for the Ceridians to evacuate." Taewon watched in horror as the horizon, badly outmatched, fired its weapons at the nearest Morax vessel. The shields on the Earthship flared blue with each hit they took in return. "They'll be destroyed," Jisoo whispered, her skin pale with fear. The shuttle pilot looked to Taewon for orders. "Sir?" Taewon made his decision. "We're going back. Now." Despite the danger, they launched the shuttle and raced toward the horizon. The space around them filled with energy blasts as the battle intensified. The shuttle rocked violently as a shot passed close by. "Hold on!" shouted the pilot as they made a final approach to the horizon's shuttle bay. They landed hard, the shuttle skidding across the bay floor before crashing into the far wall. Taewon helped Jisoo up, and they ran for the bridge. The horizon shuddered continuously now. As they reached the bridge, Taewon saw the main view screen showing 1 Morax ship disabled, but the other 2 still attacking fiercely. Captain Do turned, his face tight with anger. "I ordered you to stay at the station, Commander." "Sir, Jisoo has critical information the Morax want. She needs to destroy it before they can take it." Another blast hit the ship, stronger than the others. The lights flickered and a warning siren began to wail. "Hull breach in Section 7, called out the damage control officer. "Emergency force fields activated." Jisoo gasped. "That's where my research data is stored." Without hesitation, she ran. From the bridge. "Jisoo, wait," Taewon called, running after her. They raced through corridors filled with smoke and flashing emergency lights. Crew members rushed past them, sealing off damaged sections. When they reached Section 7, they found the doors locked down. "Emergency override, Commander Kim. Authorization Alpha 37, Taewon said to the computer. The door slid open to reveal chaos beyond. A jagged hole had opened in the outer hull, with only a shimmering force field holding back the vacuum of space. The room was depressurizing slowly as the field weakened. Jisoo ran to a storage unit and pulled out a small crystal device. "This contains all my research on Ceridian worlds. If the Morax get it..." A violent explosion rocked the ship. The force field flickered dangerously, and part of the ceiling collapsed. A metal beam crashed down toward Jisoo. Taewon moved without thinking. He shoved her aside and took the impact across his shoulders. Pain shot through his body as he fell to the floor. "Taewon!" Jisoo cried out. She knelt beside him, the crystal clutched in her hand. "Destroy it," he gasped through the pain, "before they get it." Jisoo placed her hands around the crystal. Her skin began to glow intensely, the light focusing through her fingers. The crystal heated, then shattered into dust. As darkness edged into Taewon's vision, he felt Jisoo's cool hands on his face. "Stay with me," she said, her voice seeming to come from far away. "Please stay with me." The last thing he saw before losing consciousness was Jisoo's face, tears like tiny diamonds on her iridescent skin. Taewon opened his eyes slowly. A soft blue light filled the room. For a moment he thought he was still on the horizon in the Medical bay. Then he noticed the ceiling. It seemed to be made of living crystal that glowed gently. "He's awake," said a voice. Jisu's face appeared above him. Her amber eyes were wide with relief, her skin shimmering with happy light patterns. "Where am I?" Taewon asked, his voice rough. "Elysia," Jisoo replied, "my home." Taewon tried to sit up, but felt a sharp pain in his back. Jisoo gently helped him, adjusting the strange, soft material he was lying on. "Easy," she said. "Your injuries were serious. Our healers have been working on you for 3 days." 3 days? Taewon looked around the room in shock. "The horizon, the crew." "Safe," Jisoo assured him. "After you were hurt, the Caridian Defense Fleet arrived and drove away the Orcs ships. Captain Do agreed to bring the horizon to Elysia for repairs. They're in orbit now." A tall Caridian entered the room. His skin was a deeper purple than Jisoo's, with complex patterns of light moving beneath the surface. He carried a bowl filled with glowing liquid. "This is my father, Hwan," Jisoo said. "He's one of the healers who saved your life." Hwan bowed slightly. "Drink this," he said, offering the bowl. "It will help with the pain." Taewon hesitated, then took a small sip. The liquid was cool and tasted like sweet mint. Almost immediately, the pain in his back eased. "Thank you," he said. Hwan nodded. "You saved my daughter. Our family owes you a great debt." When Hwan left, Jisoo helped Taewon stand. He moved to a window and gasped at what he saw. The Caridian city spread out below them, a magnificent collection of crystal buildings that seemed to grow from the ground rather than being built. The structures caught the light of the planet's 2 suns, breaking it into thousands of colors. Between the buildings, plants with glowing leaves and flowers created natural pathways. "It's the most beautiful place I've ever seen," Taewon whispered. Jisoo stood beside him. "This is the Crystal City, my home." Later that day, when Taewon felt stronger, Jisoo took him on a short walk through the city. People stopped to look at him, the first human many of them had ever seen. Children with softly glowing skin ran up to touch his hand, curious about his different appearance. "They like you," Jisoo said, laughing as a small Caridian girl examined Taewon's fingers with wonder. They came to a large open space in the center of the city. A council of Caridian elders was meeting there with Captain Do and several officers from the horizon. "Commander Kim," Captain Do said when he saw Taewon. "Good to see you on your feet." "Thank you, sir. What's happening?" Captain Do's expression turned serious. "We're discussing the Morak situation. It's worse than we thought." The head elder, a female Caridian named Sun, gestured for Taewon to join them. "The one who saved Jisoo should hear this too," Sun explained. That the Moraks had destroyed 5 more Caridian colonies in the past month. Intelligence suggested they were preparing for a full assault on Elysia itself. "We have lived in peace for thousands of years," Sun said, her voice heavy with sorrow. "But now we face extinction." Captain Do looked uncomfortable. "As I've explained, Earth cannot officially enter this conflict. Our mission is exploration, not war." "But you can't just leave them to die," Taewon said, surprising himself with his outburst. "Commander," Captain Do warned. Sun raised her hand. "We understand your position, Captain. We ask only for knowledge, not for you to fight our battles." After the meeting, Jisoo took Taewon to a high tower at the edge of the city. From there they could see beyond the crystal buildings to the natural landscape of Elysia. Rolling hills covered with plants that glowed softly in the gathering dusk. "This is what the Moraks would destroy," Jisoo said quietly. "Not just our people, but all of this." Taewon felt the weight of her words. There must be something we can do. That evening, Jisoo's family hosted a dinner for Taewon and several officers from the horizon. The food was strange but delicious, fruits that seemed to melt in the mouth and vegetables with complex layered flavors. Jisoo's mother, Sue, was as graceful as her daughter. She had created many of the living light sculptures that decorated their home. During the meal, she asked Taewon many questions about Earth. "Jisoo tells us your world is mostly water," she said. "How strange it must be to have so much empty space." Taewon smiled. "We don't think of it as empty. Our oceans are full of life." After dinner, Captain Do pulled Taewon aside. "The ship repairs will be complete tomorrow. We leave the day after. Sir, we can't just abandon these people, Taewon said. Captain Do frowned. Our orders are clear, Commander. This isn't our fight. Later, as Jisoo walked Taewon back to his quarters, neither spoke. The weight of his coming departure hung between them. At his door, Jisoo finally broke the silence. Will you come with me tomorrow? There's somewhere special I want to show you before you leave. Taewon nodded. Of course. That night, he couldn't sleep. He stood at his window, watching the gentle glow of the Crystal City. In just a few weeks, his life had changed completely. He had discovered a new world, a new people, and feelings he never expected. In the morning, Jisoo arrived early. She led him to a small vessel that hovered above the ground without any visible engines. Where are we going? Taewon asked as they boarded. Jisoo's skin flickered with nervous light. To the heart of Elysia, the place that shows why we must save my world, no matter the cost. As their vessel rose into the air, Taewon looked back at the Crystal City shining in the morning light. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but he knew he couldn't bear the thought of this beautiful world falling to the Morax. The heart of Elysia was a vast crystal cave deep beneath the planet's surface. Jisoo guided their small vessel through a hidden entrance in a mountain range, far from the city. As they descended into the underground chamber, Taewon gasped at the sight before him. Enormous crystals, taller than buildings, rose from the ground, hand-hung from the ceiling, each pulsed with inner light that changed colors slowly. The air itself seemed to glow. This is the source of all life on our world, Jisoo explained as they landed on a small platform. These crystals connect to every living thing on Elysia. Taewon followed her onto a pathway that wound between the giant formations. The ground beneath their feet lit up with each step, responding to their presence. The Morax don't just want our technology, Jisoo said quietly. They want this. With it, they could power weapons strong enough to conquer the entire sector. Taewon understood now why the Ceridians fought so hard to protect their world. This wasn't just about survival. It was about keeping an incredible power from falling into dangerous hands. When they returned to the Crystal City that evening, they found it in chaos. A Ceridian scout ship had returned with terrible news. A massive Morax fleet was heading toward Elysia. They would arrive in less than 2 days. Captain Do called an emergency meeting with his officers and the Ceridian elders. The Horizon will depart immediately, he announced. I'm ordering all crew to return to the ship within the hour. Taewon stood up. Sir, with respect, we can't leave now. Not when we know what's coming. This isn't our war, Commander, Captain Do said firmly. It became our war when they attacked our ship, Taewon argued. And if the Morax get control of Elysia's power source, how long before they come for Earth? The room fell silent. Captain Do's expression hardened, but Taewon could see uncertainty in his eyes. Elder Sun spoke next. We do not ask your people to die for us, but perhaps there is another way you could help. By midnight, a plan had formed. Captain Do reluctantly agreed to stay in orbit for 24 more hours. During that time, Taewon would work with Jisoo and the Ceridian defense team to adapt human military tactics to Ceridian technology. The Morax expect you to run and hide as you've always done, Taewon told the Ceridian Defense Council. We need to surprise them. For the next day, they worked without rest. The Ceridians had powerful shields but few weapons. However, they did have something special, the ability to link their minds together when in physical contact, creating a network faster than any computer. Taewon explained the human concept of fire traps and ambush tactics. The Ceridians, who had always relied on defensive measures, listened carefully. We will place ships here, here, and here, Taewon said, pointing to locations on the star map. When the Morax fleet passes between them, you activate your shield. Technology, but reverse it. Reverse our shields? Asked a Ceridian commander. Yes, instead of keeping energy out, push it inward. Create a cage they can't escape from. The plan was risky. It required perfect timing and coordination, and it needed one more thing. Bait. The Morax want me and my research, Jisoo said when they were alone that night. I should be the one to lure them into the trap. Taewon shook his head. It's too dangerous. Jisoo placed her hand on his. Her skin glowed warmly. My people cannot fight this war alone. I must do my part. The next morning, as the Morax fleet approached, Captain Du made his final decision. The Horizon would remain in orbit, but only to observe and report back to Earth. The ship would not engage in battle. "This is your last chance to return to the ship, Commander," he told Taewon over the communicator. Taewon looked at Jisoo, who stood ready beside the small Ceridian vessel they would pilot into danger. "I'm staying, sir." "Then you do so without my approval. Good luck, Commander." The communication ended. Jisoo's vessel was small and fast. It carried a beacon that broadcast the signature of her research data, the perfect bait. As they flew away from Elysia, the massive Morax fleet changed course to follow them. "They've spotted us," Taewon said, watching the scanner. "All 20 ships." Jisoo's hands were steady on the controls. "Now we just need to lead them to the right spot." The plan worked perfectly at first. The Morax ships, hungry for the valuable data they thought Jisoo carried, followed them directly into the trap. Hidden Ceridian vessels activated their reversed shields, creating an energy net around the enemy fleet. But then something went wrong. One Morax ship, larger than the others, broke free and fired on Jisoo's vessel. A direct hit. "We're losing power," Jisoo called as warning lights flashed around them. Taewon took the controls. "Hold on, I can still land this thing." They crashed on a small moon not far from where the battle raged. Their ship was damaged beyond repair. Air was leaking slowly from the cabin. "The emergency beacon is still working," Taewon said, checking the systems. "But I don't know if anyone can reach us in time." Jisoo's skin had grown pale. "At least we succeeded. Look." She pointed out the viewport. In space above them, the Morax fleet was trapped in the energy net. Ceridian ships moved in, not to destroy, but to disable the enemy vessels. The battle was turning in their favor. "I always believed we could win without becoming killers," Jisoo said softly. "You helped us find a way." Taewon took her hand. Her skin was cold. The air was getting thin. "Jisoo, there's something I need to tell you," he began. A bright light suddenly filled the viewport. Taewon thought it was the end, but then he recognized the shape. The Horizon had arrived. Captain Do's voice came through the crackling communicator. "Commander Kim, hold position. We're sending a rescue team." Hours later, safe aboard the Horizon's medical bay, Taewon learned the outcome. The Ceridians had captured the entire Morax fleet without destroying a single ship. The enemy commanders had surrendered when they realized they couldn't escape. Captain Du visited Taewon's bedside. "The Ceridians are calling you a hero," he said. "And Earth Command wants a full report on this new defensive technology." "Does that mean—" "Yes. They're authorizing a permanent diplomatic mission to Elysia. Someone will need to stay behind as Earth's ambassador." He gave Taewon a knowing look. "Any suggestions?" 3 months later, Taewon stood on the balcony of the new Earth Embassy in the Crystal City. The building combined human and Ceridian design, solid walls meeting flowing crystal in perfect harmony. Jisoo joined him, her skin glowing with joy. "The first transport ship from Earth arrives tomorrow. Your sister is on board, yes?" Taewon nodded. "She's eager to meet you and to see the Ceridian architecture she's heard so much about." "And your parents will visit next month?" "They wouldn't miss it. They're very curious about the woman who convinced their son to move across the galaxy." Jisoo's light patterns shifted to a pattern Taewon now recognized as love. Since accepting the position as ambassador, he had learned much more about Ceridian culture, including their ways of showing affection. He touched his forehead to hers in the traditional Ceridian gesture, then pulled her close in a human embrace. "Two worlds, two hearts," he whispered, repeating the phrase from their joining ceremony a month earlier. "Two futures, one path," Jisoo completed the saying. Below them, the crystal city sparkled in the evening light. In the distance, a new structure was taking shape, a joint human-Ceridian defense academy where both species would learn from each other. The Morax threat had been contained for now, but there would be new challenges ahead. Taewon wasn't worried. Together they had already overcome the greatest distance of all, the space between two different worlds. The end.